Welcome back! My name is BALLERSCUBA. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1982. Today, we're going to talk about Tron. The story of Tron starts with Steven LISBERGER, an American filmmaker. LISBERGER formed his own studio, LISBERGER Studios, in 1977 with business partner Donald Kushner, and the two began working on animation. LISBERGER directed Animalympics in 1980, a full-length animated film created for NBC's coverage of the 1980 Summer Olympics. After that film was released, LISBERGER turned to a passion project, Tron. LISBERGER was inspired to make Tron based on his love of video games, a love that began in 1976 when he first saw Pong, the Atari arcade game from 1972. LISBERGER had the idea to develop a story in which characters were transported inside a computer, similar to Alice in Wonderland's journey. LISBERGER had already created an early version of the Tron character, short for electronic, as an advertisement for LISBERGER Studios. This version was based on the Cylon characters from 1978's Battlestar Galactica. Anticipating the creation of a full-length film for the Tron character, LISBERGER Studios borrowed money against the anticipated profits of Animalympics. An article in Variety around this time caught the attention of computer scientist Alan Kay. Alan Kay convinced LISBERGER to hire Kay as an advisor for the film. It was Kay that convinced LISBERGER to use computer graphics instead of hand-drawn animation, it is said. The original script for the film was written by Bonnie McBird, who created the personality of Tron as well as the character of Flynn. LISBERGER then turned to funding. LISBERGER wanted to fund as much of the film without help from major film studios as he could. After storyboarding the full film, LISBERGER Studios found themselves needing more money. LISBERGER and Kushner approached several different companies with their storyboards and some sample computer animations. After going to Warner Brothers, MGM, and Columbia, who all rejected the film, the two approached Walt Disney Pictures in 1980. Disney was open to taking risks at the time and agreed to give the film a test. Disney funded a single scene in which live action was mixed with backlit animation and computer-generated visuals. The executives at Disney were impressed by the results of the scene and agreed to fund the film. However, Disney had the script and storyboards redone. Disney also did not trust LISBERGER Studios with the animation, so Disney hired Wong Film Productions to handle the animation. Wong Film Productions is an established Taiwanese-American animation studio that was founded in 1978. Wong Film Productions had worked with Hanna-Barbera to animate several television shows. To create the look of the film, Disney hired 3 designers. Jean Giraud, a French comic book artist who worked on Metal Hurlant, was the main set and costume designer. Sid Mead, who had worked on Star Trek the Motion Picture and Blade Runner, designed most of the vehicles. Peter Lloyd, a commercial artist, designed the environments. Disney hired 4 different companies to create the computer animation sequences. Those were Information International Inc., Magi, Robert Abel and Associates, and Digital Effects. Because these 4 different studios did not collaborate with each other, the results would be different styles present throughout the film. The computers of the time were still limited, so the animation would also be limited. Many of the backgrounds would be black, as the computers could not handle too much on the screen at once. Each computer animated scene would have to be designed frame by frame as well, as the computers themselves could not actually animate anything. The complicated process used by the film to combine the live action with hand-drawn animation with computer animation would prove to be so costly that it has never been replicated in another feature film. The sound design of the film was assigned to Frank Serafine, who had worked on Star Trek: The Motion Picture. The soundtrack was written by electronic musician Wendy Carlos, who had worked on A Clockwork Orange and The Shining. The band Journey would provide 2 additional tracks for the official soundtrack. The film was originally scheduled to be released for the holiday season of 1982. However, Disney heard that former Disney employee and then Disney rival Don Bluth was releasing an animated film around that time, so the release date was pushed earlier. Tron was released to over 1,000 theaters on July 9th, 1982. The final budget of the film would be $17 million, over $48 million in 2021. In its first weekend, Tron made $4 million. The film would go on to make $50 million worldwide, over $141 million in 2021. This was Disney's most successful live-action film in the past 5 years, despite the competition at the box office from E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and Blade Runner. The critics also enjoyed the film. In particular, the critics enjoyed the visuals and technical achievements of the film, although the plot and acting were seen as some of the downsides of the film. The film would go on to sell $70 million of merchandise, on top of the $50 million of ticket sales, including a novelization of the film written by Brian Daley. However, the film was still seen as a financial disappointment. As time has gone on, Tron has become a cult classic. It is often cited as one of the films that have been overlooked. Tron would prove to be highly influential in computer animation. It was because of the success of Tron that future films would consider computer animation to be a viable option. That is the behind-the-scenes story of Tron. With that now told, it's time to discuss the plot of the film. If you have not seen Tron and do not want its plot spoiled, now would be the time to stop watching. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. For those that have stayed, let's talk about the plot of Tron. The story of Tron follows Kevin Flynn, a former employee at the Encom Computer Corporation. Now running an arcade, Flynn decides to hack into the Encom's mainframe system. However, Encom's Master Control Program, or MCP, stops Flynn. At Encom, programmer Alan Bradley and engineer Laura Baines are locked out of their projects by the MCP. They approach the executive vice president, Ed Dillinger. Dillinger tells them this is a part of security protocol when there is a hacking attempt. After the two leave, though, Dillinger questions the MCP about it. The MCP has become a full virtual intelligence, however. The MCP has been appropriating other programs to become more powerful, and decides to blackmail Dillinger about how he is plagiarizing Flynn's video games. Laura figures out that Flynn is the hacker, so she and Alan go to Flynn to warn him. Flynn tells them that he has been trying to find evidence of Dillinger's plagiarism. The three decide to break into Encom and activate Flynn's Tron program, a security measure that can counter the MCP. Once inside Encom, the three split up and the MCP discovers Flynn. The MCP uses a laser to bring Flynn into the mainframe itself. Inside the mainframe, Flynn discovers that the MCP and its second-in-command, Sark, have been coercing the other programs to renounce their belief in the users. Any that resist are forced to play in deadly games. Flynn is forced to play in these games. Between games, Flynn meets Ram and Tron, two captured programs. During a light cycle race, a game that Flynn programmed, the three are able to escape and go into the mainframe, but Flynn and Ram are separated from Tron by a pursuit party, and Ram is injured. Flynn tries to help Ram and discovers that he can use his programming knowledge to manipulate parts of the mainframe. Ram recognizes that Flynn is a user and tells Flynn he must free the system. Flynn disguises himself as one of Sark's soldiers, creates a vehicle, and sets off. He is able to find Tron, who now, thanks to a program named Yori, has information they need to stop the MCP. The three board a solar sailor and head out to stop the MCP. However, Sark is able to stop the solar sailor. He captures Flynn and Yori, and it looks like he kills Tron. Flynn is able to save the solar sailor by manipulating the mainframe. Sark takes the captured programs to the MCP. The MCP attempts to absorb the captured programs when Tron appears. Tron fights Sark, critically injuring him. The MCP gives all its functions to Sark in an attempt to save him. Flynn leaps into the MCP's beam, giving Tron the break he needs to destroy the MCP and Sark, saving the system. Flynn returns to the real world. The destruction of the MCP has released all lockouts. A printer prints out proof of Dillinger's plagiarism. Dillinger returns the next morning to find the MCP not working and that proof of his plagiarism has been published. Flynn is promoted to CEO of Encom, and Alan and Laura greet him as their new boss. Although the plot of Tron was not seen as one of the film's strengths, the idea of entering into a computer in a digitized form is one that would inspire several future stories. The idea of an explorable world inside a computer is a powerful concept that would be revisited several times. Tron would inspire sequels, although its status as an unsuccessful film would mean that the sequels would not be worked on immediately. Tron was released on home video starting in 1983, where it proved successful. The film would also be popular among video rentals. By 1993, 10 years after the initial home video release, the film would gross $17 million in rentals. Looking ahead, we will of course be hearing from Disney again. Despite seeing this film as a financial failure, the company would continue to make money in the film industry, and we will be talking about Disney often in the future. As for the film's creator and director, Steven Lisberger, we will be hearing from him again, although that may take some time. That will do it for the story of Tron for now. My name is BALLERSCUBA. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we go for a drive.